What's up, guys? Welcome into College Football Uncensored. I'm your host, Chris Marler. Let's get into the Week 8 edition. And usually we talk football. We're going to just go right into what is only described as the worst Uber ever.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, just absolutely 0 stars for that, sir. There's a lot to unpack here. And just for anyone that's sensitive, let's go ahead and address the fact that no one was injured. But I also want to be clear when I say, if they were, I still would have laughed because this whole thing is absolutely ridiculous. The memes, of course, were great. This was my personal favorite. Yeah, who doesn't like eating their feelings? Like in a turned over wagon, I guess. I don't know. Later in the afternoon, our friends at PETA, they decided to weigh in because, you know, as soon as something like this happens, everyone's first thought was, I hope PETA weighs in with their amazing and valuable opinions. However, I feel like they're kind of right here. Like, the horses were safe. They overreacted to that.
Take a look at the whole
thing. But this is just flat out a stupid tradition. I'm not sure how the crash happened. Like, I don't know if Kyler Murray was driving, couldn't see over the wheel. No idea. But I'll tell you this. If you ever get into a vehicle that has wooden wheels when it's 2019, yeah, you deserve this to happen. I just flat out. And, you know, again, I don't want to hate on tradition or culture in Oklahoma, but it seems kind of odd that the tradition and culture is like, hey, what do you guys do for fun in Oklahoma? Like, oh, I'm glad you asked. In the spring, we chase tornadoes and hope to not die. And then in the fall, we do like an Oregon Trail Ben-Hur Uber race. And then also, again, try not to die. So, all right, from ponies to goats, Lane Kiffin, just the world's greatest Twitter troll, was at it again. And he was just back on his after a Friday night loss for FAU. He tweeted this meme of blind refs and tagged his own conference in it. First off, Will Muschamp is just absolute living vicariously through you. I'm sure a lot of coaches of the SEC would applaud this. Now, to be fair, he was fined $5,000 for this from Conference USA. But I can only assume with his level of pettiness that he paid that immediately in like Bitcoin or $2 bills and nickels. Like it had to be. We are a little bit concerned that Joey Freshwater is now becoming Joey Freshwater because this picture is worse than any time I've ever turned on my camera and it was accidentally facing me as a selfie. This is a nightmare. I would never bring that up and say something petty or childish and mature about his physical looks. Like, I don't know, your face looks like the back of a fat person's knees after they've been walking around at Six Flags all day. Or, Lane, you look like a giant melted thumb. Moving on to another ass, Joe Burrow is just continued to set the world on fire. Like, outside of Lizzo and White Claw, no one's had a better come up this season than Joe Burrow. This week, someone pulled his pants down on national television, and the world of Twitter lost their minds, especially women, which I'll be honest, I don't really get. As a white guy, like, that's usually like one of our least valuable assets. Like, why don't you just ask to see our calves? Not a lot going on there. Also, kind of surprised that this wasn't called targeting in a Bible Belt state, but that's neither here nor there. Of course, you had the Coppertone one, that was good. This was by far my favorite someone turned into us. That's so uncomfortable and so good as well. This was in an actual paper. That's, yes, bravo. Yeah, and then the GOAT of memes here. Just, you know what, give him the Heisman. And I tell you what, if he wins the Heisman, this better be on it too. Let's go down to Miami, which I don't know a lot about that city besides it's really hot and Will Smith sang about it in one of the worst rap songs I've ever heard in my life. They lost to Georgia Tech this weekend, and this 15-year-old kid lost his mind. I'm so triggered by so many things right now. Somebody needs to tell Tevin or Bryce, which I'm assuming is his name, or some other generic name for someone that usually peaks when they're in 10th grade, that if you're going to punch something, usually the best way to go about it is not using the inside of your wrist. All right. That kid was a great candidate for LVP, but there is a better candidate. And listen, move over literacy rates and salt life stickers because there's a new king in the Southeast for the worst things about these states, and that's SEC refs. They had another week to forget. They were bad all weekend. They somehow were upstaged by this group of geriatric jerks in the Sun Belt. I'll try to set the stage. So in front of a raucous crowd of 840 people, these two, bottom shelf safety schools that you apply to if you don't get into your fourth or fifth option, played a football game, and I guess either the football was so bad they decided to have a dance-off, or they were just trying to have some fun and still have a giant flash mob. However, the refs were not having it at all. I can only assume that the head ref was like the pastor or the asshole dad from Footloose. Like, he literally outlawed dancing, like, at the commercial break. Everyone got a flag. He ejected 7 players. What kind of sheltered Southern Baptist life did you have to grow up in to eject someone for dancing? And again, listen, they even got a bailout because at the end of the day, after all the missed calls from SEC refs and national refs, the biggest missed call of the entire day was when ESPN said this was Ryan Helinski's family. I don't like to bring up race here, but I'm just going to say it. Ryan Helinski is like the whitest name ever. The name Ryan Helinski sounds like it's trying to sell me life insurance. That's how white it is. Okay, so that is your LVP of the week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you join us next week as well. Y'all have a good one.